Hey everyone, today we're talking about estimating with decimals. Estimating, you remember, is what we call an educated guess. It's not a guess out of thin air. You actually have some rhyme and reason to why you're saying what you're saying. Let's look at your learning objectives. I can read and write decimals through the hundredths place value. I can estimate decimals to the nearest whole number. I can estimate decimal sums. So if you've ever been in a car before, or you've looked at maybe mom or dad or grandma and grandpa driving, and you've seen this little thing in the front of the car, this is called an odometer. We're going to start off with an example here today. An odometer tells you how far the car has gone in its lifetime. And you can set it for other things too, like maybe when you fill up the gas tank each time, when you need an oil change, stuff like that. So let's say we got in the car one day and our odometer said this. It said 45. I have 4 10s and 5 1s. Well, what would this tell me? It would tell me how far we've gone so far. But my question for you is, can it tell me how close I am to 46 miles? We don't really know yet. If you think of a number line, I'm going to draw a little number line for you down below. And here's the number 45. And here's the number 46. Can my odometer tell me, am I closer to 45 or am I closer to 46? We know we're at least at 45, but we don't know where on this number line we could be to 46. Are we at 45 and 2/10 of a mile? Are we at 45 and 8/10 of a mile? We have no idea. But lucky for us, many cars nowadays actually do have a trip odometer that tells us tenths of a mile. All right, so each of those miles are broken up into 10 equal pieces. So if my car now says the odometer 45 and 6/10 miles, we know that the car is going to be closer to 46 miles than 45 miles. And we know this again because we can draw a little number line to help us. If we had 45 here and 46 here, and I split it into 10 equal pieces, these aren't going to be really good, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You get the point. It's close enough. Move my 46 a little bit closer down here. And if I counted by tenths, 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, we know that 6 means we're going to round up to the next number, which is going to be 46. So the tenths place can help us tell what the decimal is going to be closer to as far as a whole number. I have a decimal written down here below, and remember the first thing we're going to do is round to whole numbers. So we're going to round to whole numbers. I have 3 and 8/10. On my number line up here, all I've done is I've taken the number 0 and 1 and I've split it into tenths because we're working with the tenths place, and so we're going to round to the nearest whole number, but we need the tenths to work with because that's our smallest piece. So I'm going to put an eighth or an X on the 8/10, and then I'm going to look at my number line. Is it going to be closer to the next whole number up, or is it going to be closer to the next whole number down? Well, 0.8 is closer to 1.0, or 1 whole, 1 and 0/10. So we can say that 3 and 8/10 is going to be rounded up to 4, all right? Don't round it to 1. Just think of this as the tenths place telling you where to round. Don't round it to 1. Don't round it to 0 unless you're working with that in the ones place, all right? Let's try another one. This time I have 2 and 2/10. So we're going to put the decimal here, which is 2/10. We're going to put a little X on it. And is it closer to the next whole number down? So is it closer to 2? Or is it closer to the next number up, which would be 3? Well, 0 to floor, we're going to hit the floor, so we're going to go down to 2. Here's another one. 4 and 5/10, or some of you might recognize this as 4.5. Is it closer to 4, or is it closer to 5? 5 to 9, we're going to climb the vine up to the next whole number, so it is closer to 5 1s. You try the last one on your own. If you said you would round up to 16, you were correct. We can also estimate decimal sums when we have addition and subtraction problems. Let's say I wanted to add 6 7/10 to 5 2/10. The first thing we're going to do, remember, is to round to the whole number. So we're going to round to the ones place. We're working with tenths again, so I have my number line broken up into 10 equal spots. So how we're going to do this is we're going to do 6 7/10. Let's mark the 7/10. And are we going to round up or down? We are going to round up to 7. And then the 5 2/10, we are going to round down because the 2 is going to make us hit the floor. So we're going to round down to 5. And I know that 7 plus 5 is 12. We're just estimating, we're not giving the actual answer. So it's going to be approximately 12. Let's try another one. 26 8/10 added to 16 1/10. Looking at our number line, here's the 8/10 for 26, so that would round up to 27. And we're going to mark the 1/10, and that's going to round us down to 16. We know that 27 plus 16, 7 plus 6 is 13 ones, bring the 110 over. It's going to be about 43. Notice how I didn't use any decimals in this one down below? I could have. 16 0/10 is the same thing as 16 ones, just like 27 0/10 is the same as 27 ones.